Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Game On, the new official BB talk show, and this is your host, Schlim. And since this is the first episode here, I will quickly brief over the two-part premiere night that happened last Wednesday and Thursday. So two groups of 8 house guests both walked in to vote on a 17th house guest named Ainsley. She didn't get to come in the house, and then she revealed that she was AI. So she basically told them that you would regret saying no, and the people who voted no had to play in a competition where the last 2 people were selected to receive a downgrade to their game. And the people who voted yes would compete in a challenge where the fastest 2 people would get a big upgrade for their game. So that's basically what happened during that premiere. A lot of people were saying that it was the worst premiere ever, and I really don't think so, because we were just kind of getting to the feel of the new theme for the season, and yeah, I just don't agree with that. But anyways, let's start by reminding you who we have currently this season in the house. Row 1, we got Tucker, T-Core, Rubina, and Angela. Row 2, we got Chelsea, Cedric, Brooklyn, and Quinn. Row 3, Matt, Cam, Mackenzie, Lisa. And then row 4, Kenny, Leah, Chemo, and Joseph. So at the beginning of the 3rd episode, we were learned that Cedric and Chelsea had their games downgraded. The downgrade was very fucking ruthless, because not only were they able to not compete in competitions for safety such as the HOH or the power veto, but they can't vote in evictions, and definitely this is the worst part, is that they could be thrown up on the block and they can't even save themselves. So yeah, that downgrade is pretty fucking ruthless, and it's definitely the most ruthless punishment that I've seen so far in Big Brother. Everybody got to know each other. It's a very, very diverse cast. And then right after everybody got to know each other, AI was like, we need 4 volunteers for have-nots. And the 4 volunteers were Quinn, Cam, Tucker, and Chemo. They would definitely regret it when they walked in the have-not room. It looked terrible. No mattresses, literally just you're laying on an uncomfortable box. That's what it looked like. Cam and Quinn were very vocal about it, that's for sure. Cam was asking somebody to switch him real quick. It was a joke, though. I don't think he really took that seriously. And Quinn, he threw himself up there because at some point in the season he knew, like, I'm gonna be a have-not at some point in the season, so why not just get out of the way. And then moving on to early drama part 1. This is where Miss Big Mouth Angela told Matt that I have the quotes right here, but she says that he's eye candy and you know what's going to happen, basically hinting at that Matt's going to be in a showmance. Even though she claims that it's a general statement, I think it's absolute bullshit. And even though it was just a comment, I think overall, from what I've been seeing and the live feeds, I think she's playing the game way too hard. Way too hard. I think her and Lisa are playing the game way too hard. But she's already making people uncomfortable, and she especially is giving Matt a massive reason not to talk game or trust Angela at all. And before and after that Matt conversation, it seemed like Matt and Kenny were really starting to like jive. And a lot of aligned between the two. Matt's family served in the military, while Kenny used to serve, and then Matt revealed that his father's a cop. But Kenny did not reveal that he was a cop, though. I mean, for obvious reasons. They would eventually, at some point, go talk in one of the back bedrooms, confessing, especially Matt, confessing that they wanted to work together. But then you see Angela and T-Core walk into the frame with Angela's like, "What are you all doing?" And it got really awkward. And then she walked up to them. She was like, "Gameplay." And then she followed with the comment, "We'll come back out here in a bit to make sure everything's kosher." Like, Angela, get the hell out of here, man. Like, oh my god, I swear. I think it was a really good episode, but I think, oh my god, it's a start of a war. Matt was also actively trying to form another alliance with like Cam and Tucker and all the fit guys. He didn't really mention Kenny that much, but they all really bonded due to being very athletic and fit. And personally, I think that they could easily dominate the competitions, and utilizing everyone's strengths in the alliance would carry them through, I think, majority of the game. But that back part of the game is just so important. Jury management, your social game. I mean, like, I don't think people would win straight off just slapping people with comps, except for like the exception of Jag and Xavier. But anyways, moving on to the upgraded games. So after Ainsley announced the have-nots, she announced that the people who voted yes would probably find out what their upgrades were. So whole plethora of people who voted yes ended up putting in some like little key card, and something would show up on the screen and be like, or like it would show up the power, of course. Mackenzie and Quinn both won some pretty massive upgrades to start the game with. Mackenzie won the first upgrade, which was America's Veto, which gives Mackenzie the power to remove herself or nominee from the block after the veto ceremony ends. And this, however, would leave an open seat on the block till eviction night, where America would have already voted who would be sitting in the block versus an already nominated house guest. And then Quinn won the deep fake HOH, which gives him the power to override HOH's entire week. And both powers can only be played once in one of the first 4 weeks of the game. So we're moving on to the HOH competition, which was called New Rule. And before the HOH competition, Miss Ainsley, or Miss AI herself, announced that she did her own research on what would improve the Big Brother game. And she followed by saying that one of the most reoccurring comments was a more exciting eviction night, which I don't know. I really don't know. I'd have to really sit down and like think or write a list for sure. But she said that one of the most recurring comments was a more exciting eviction night. And this is where she said the first HOH and the ones who would follow would now have to nominate 3 people for possible eviction. Who knows if after the AI comps that this that nominating 3 people will like diminish. So who knows? But anyways, she said that the 3 nominees after the veto will compete in an AI arena contest live, where the winner will come off the block and be safe, leaving the 2 players up for the vote. But then started the HOH comp. It's called New Rule, where Ainsley would make a new rule after every round was played. And Chelsea and Cedric, of course, they couldn't compete because of the downgrades. They basically had to toss a disc on this like little platform, to where if it landed on the highest number, blah 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 blah, whoever had the highest number in the first round would choose who would be eliminated. But before that, they had to get teams of 3, and everybody quickly got into teams 3, which left out Mackenzie and Tucker. And then Quinn, Kenny, and Matt won the next round, in which they chose the team who was right behind them in points, Chemo, Rubina, and Brooklyn. They voted them out, which eliminated them, which left these 3 teams, as you can see on the screen. And after that, Ainsley made a new rule that each team would have to play against each other, and one person from each team would prevail to go to the last round. And that ended up being Kenny, Leah, and Angela. Angela won the head of household. And this is where a little bit more drama starts. I'd definitely say this was a really good episode. After this did definitely come with a lot of game talk, especially from a lot of assumptions from Matt. Right after, though, Angela was in talks in like the very back bedroom with Joseph, Chelsea, and Cedric, and she also listed T-Core as a possible name for an alliance, but she's still trying to figure it out, trying to see where people's heads are at and stuff like that. And this is also at a point right after where people were talking in the backyard. They were talking to Kenny. Kenny was like, I wish I would have got that. Like, I don't know where I stand with Angela. And then Matt kind of butts in. He's like, I don't know where I stand with Angela either. And he basically tells majority of the house that he's going to go up because of the comments that Angela made towards him about the showmans and all this other stuff. And this is where Chelsea's like, oh, you're going up because you're good looking, all this other stuff like that. But I believe that Chelsea was not in the room when that happened. So I feel like if it were like in the kitchen or something like that, you know, I think she'd be able to understand it a little bit more. But again, I mean, Matt dwelling on the fact that she'll put him up like days after that it already happened, I think you should just let it go at that point. But I mean, again, keep your head on a swivel. But I mean, I wouldn't have dwelled a whole week on that, you know what I'm saying? So when I mean by like the majority of the house, he was in the backyard and all this other stuff, and then Chelsea and Joseph were there talking to him. Well, Joseph was the first person to come back and tell Angela what Matt was saying. It's where Angela tells Matt that that was not her intention, and they would eventually talk to where she was saying that, oh, I wasn't trying to put a target on your back, it was just a simple and harmless comment. This is where she would start talking to other people about where everybody's heads are at, who wasn't talking a bunch of game and all this other stuff. And Quinn would eventually come up and congratulate Angela and also see where her head was at. And then he reveals to her that he's a massive supervan and reveals his deep fake HOH power, which of course creates a lot of trust. And this is where Angela was kind of hitting towards Vital 2. Quinn was like, oh, we're really doing this right now? And she was like, yeah. And they kind of like held their hands up, and she was like, has there been anything called the BB guns? So that's one of the first Final 2 names of the season, BB guns. Like I said before, she would also go and speak with the rest of the house guests to try and find out who everyone didn't have any game convo or a good feeling about, where Elisa was brought up the most, but Kenny was already on Angela's hit list, so that was kind of a given. But she needed a third nominee, and this is where they would cut the Matt and Angela talking. Angela said that she wanted to clear the air by telling him that he was beautiful and that would be a fun place to witness the showmans take place. And she said she only came by as honest with no malintent. And Matt forgave her, but he definitely let her know how angry and frustrated that made him. And he was saying along the lines, like, to summarize it, like, he was saying, oh, if I really could have, I could have taken that comment, twisted it around, and put you on the block and send you home next week. She really didn't take that lightly, hinting into the next episode and live feeds and all other stuff. Just spoiler. I believe he revealed way too much how he felt, but he still managed to avoid the chopping block. And then this is where the episode will end off, where Angela would nominate Lisa, Chemo, and Kenny for the simple reason that they have not formed any relationship with Angela yet. House Guest Power Rankings. This is post-nominations pre-veto. I know I should have just waited till week 1 ended, but I did not want to wait at all. So we're going to start off with the bottom of the list. And as you can tell, I messed up with Kenny's. It's supposed to be 16. So, Kenny is obviously in last place. He reminded me of Derek, like just talking and the way he moves around and stuff like that. I don't know what he's gonna do in this game. I mean, he's already not talking game, and from the looks, spoiler alert again, this is gonna be in the title, spoiler alert. He seems very, very paranoid, and I don't know how long Kenny is gonna stay in this house. Now, could I see him, if Matt wins the AI comp, if he stays and Chemo goes this week? Of course. But who knows what's going to happen here? I mean, there's so many other people in this house that are not aligned and not talking to these guys. So we'll see what happens. So Kenny at number 16, I think he's last. Number 15, we have Chemo, and this is kind of the same thing. He kind of attached himself to T-Core, which, I mean, both of them aren't really, like, significant in this game so far. So, and from what I've seen in the live feeds, I mean, all he's doing is upstairs playing this random pool game all the time. I mean, Kima, what the hell are you doing, man? I mean, are you here to play a Big Brother, bro? I mean, I should have really put you in last because I feel like that's all you're doing. But yeah, I'm not impressed with Kimo so far. I think my prediction, I think he goes this week. Moving on to Angela. Angela has not impressed me, no matter what. I mean, even if she has HOH, she does not keep her mouth shut. The live feed, she does not keep her mouth shut. She's just making a bigger target out of herself, and I see her going home next week. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. If she doesn't come home with the beat or AI comp, which I mean, she can win a comp, especially with this many chances she's being given. I mean, I still don't see her making it to jury. Like, I don't see her making it to week 4 or week 5. I don't think she's livable, and I think that's a very good reason to vote him out. But anyways, number 13, Lisa. So, on the live feeds, I see that she's doing a little bit better with trying to reach out to everybody and talk game with people. But at the same time, like, you're announcing talking game to everybody. So that does not only give people assumptions about you, that, oh, you're trying to make sure you're covered on every part. But during the beginning of the show, I mean, she was already kind of sussed out by everybody. So I don't know where she'll stand amongst the house. And that's the same with Matt, because of the Matt and Angela stuff. He's a massive question mark. But I think if he stays this week, I think he solidifies his spot in the game with Angela gone. I think it's key for him to win HOH. Week 2 or week 3, or for one of his allies to win it, just so he can lay low, not to be the central like figure in the house right now. And I mean, that's what he's turned to, because Angela's kind of given him that part, and he's kind of like taking it too, and that's a massive issue here. So he's a big question mark for me. Both tied at number 10 is Cedric and Chelsea. I mean, they really haven't been given much to really start with, on top of the fact they don't really have an impact in the game at all right now. So they're just in the middle of the pack, but they're lower than middle because of the downgrades that they're given. So like, anything can happen. They could be backdoor and they can't do shit about it. So they're both sitting at 10 for me. Both very similar game style going into the veto. So number 9, we have Leah. She hasn't really done much yet either, but I see her working her way around. I see she's gotten really close with Mackenzie and Matt. I think they're a big 3. I've seen her talking to Kenny. I've seen her talk to Cam. I see her kind of bouncing around the house a little bit. I think she's definitely someone we'll see in the jury. But damn, in the top 5, man, I don't know. I think she's playing a good game to start out though, so I'll give her number 9. The same kind of goes with Rubina, even though I see she's more kind of aligning herself with the power structure of week 1 rather than trying to solidify herself with the power structure of the game. Again, I'm not gonna spoil anything post veto until I get to that point. But I think she's sitting in the middle of the pack with Leah too. I think they're both playing kind of similar games coming out of the gate. So that's why they're both 8 and 9. So moving on, number 7, Tucker. I maybe should have moved him lower, just because I don't know, of course, where he stands with the house. I see that he's really, really social, likable. So that's why I have him a little bit higher up on the list, but he's definitely not in the top 5, and he's definitely not going over to core. I think he's, like a lot of people are saying, Enzo Jr., but a little less out there like Enzo. So I mean, I think he's a player to watch out for, and I think he'll be an early target going to the jury if he does make it to jury. You know, if he's not screwing up his game. But that's Tucker at 7. So number 6, we have T-Core. T-Core, I think she's kind of covered in most angles of the game right now. I think she's in a good spot right now. I think she's in a nice spot. I think she should work her way around everybody else in the house, you know. But I think this isn't a bad start by her, so that's why she's at number 6. Okay, number 5, Brooklyn. She's super likable. She has connections with the women in the house and the side of the house that's in power right now. She's also got, like I said, connections with the women, with Lee and Mackenzie, with them talking the first day. I think that's a huge piece to her. I think that will be a huge piece to her game. I think she might be covered on all corners to start the game. She's one of my favorites to win right now. I think as the weeks progress, I think she'll move a little bit farther up the list. Right now, I think I'm fine with her at number 5. Number 4, we have Mackenzie, who I think hasn't played a terrible game to start out. She got that massive upgrade, which was the America's Veto. That's huge. That keeps her safe for a week. Aligning with Leah and Matt, I'm not sure if that was the greatest decision. I think it was a smidge too early for it, but I mean, I think a lot of people already would have seen it happening. I don't think she's playing too bad of a game. I think I should have moved her a little bit farther down the list. I don't think her social game is that great. I maybe could have switched Brooklyn, Mackenzie, and T-Core around, but I think 4 may be a safe spot, but I don't think she stays up there for very long. Number 3, we got Joseph. I think he's in a very, very good spot right now. He's playing a decent social game. I think he's kind of he's not very exciting. He's not very entertaining. He talks about being like Dan, but he's not even close. But I think he's still a good player. I think he still makes it really far in the game if Matt, Lee, and Mackenzie don't dominate the season. But I think he's in a decent spot. So moving on, number 2 is Cam. And Cam, oh my god, I think he's covered in all angles right now. Except for people who I think won't be in power very much throughout the season. So lately in the live feed, I've seen him talking to Lisa. So I think that would be a huge asset because nobody really is talking very much game to Lisa right now. I think that's huge if she becomes HOH. I think that clears the target off Cam's back. He also has connections with Joseph. He's made connections with Brooklyn, T-Core, Tucker, Leah. We've seen he's made big connections with Cedric, connections with Chelsea and Matt and Angela and Chemo, and was talking to Kenny and Quinn. I think Cam is probably in the best spot in the game. I think, like, alliance-wise, and who he's aligned to, I think he's in a very, very good spot, and I think he may be my favorite to win by the end of this week. But at number 1, we have Quinn. I think he's in a great spot. He's super smart. He's super calculated with everything that he's done so far. So I don't know about him making that final 2 deal with Angela. I don't know if that was the greatest decision that he's made, but I think he's worked around the house pretty well, so that's why he's at number 1 for me. But anyways, that was the end of the first episode of reviewing the first week of Big Brother. This was Game On, and this was your host Slim. Thank you guys very much, and we'll see you guys next episode.